if you want to build something, you need all the right pieces. This is the blueprint for Vernon Reid's sound. Vernon Reid is one of the most inventive, creative, and interesting guitar players of the last 30 or 40 years in rock music. You probably know him best as the guitarist for Living Colour, but he's also done studio work for Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Public Enemy, the list goes on. He's got tons of solo projects and bands outside of Living Colour that really display his unique avant-garde and interesting approach to the guitar. Today, we are not going to try to recreate certainly his playing because I'm no Vernon Reid, but we're going to try and dig into what makes up the essence of what it is that he does. To help us do that, of course, we've got some gear. Obviously, we have the Vernon Reid Signature guitar from Reverend, and we've got 4 pedals from DigiTech and Red Panda that we're going to talk about as well. So let's get into it. From Reverend, we have the Vernon Reid Signature guitar. Obviously, we need a tool like this to get close to the world of Vernon Reid. And the world of Vernon Reid is on full display here. You get 3 different finish options on this guitar, all which feature artwork that he loves and arranged by Joe Naylor over at Reverend to fit and work on these guitars. Super cool. Obviously, a bunch of inlays, which are great as well. And these 3 railhammer pickups, the Vernon Reid Signature railhammer pickups, have some very cool symbols on them as well. It looks great. It looks very Vernon Reid, but let's talk about why it sounds very Vernon Reid and why this thing is really the embodiment of what Vernon does on the guitar. Some of these features you're going to find on multiple Reverend guitars, but they really helped me kind of get into that Vernon Reid world. The first thing that I really utilized quite a bit was the bass contour roll-off knob here. Now, the Cult of Personality riff that I was playing off the top, it's got to be tight rhythmically. Hopefully I got as close as I could. But part of that tightness is a tight, really direct sound coming out of the guitar. So when I flip this back to the bridge pickup and played that riff, I immediately reached for the bass contour knob to start to roll off some of that bottom end. But the other thing that is like almost prerequisite, gotta have it to get into this Vernon Reid world, is this Floyd Rose 1000 bridge. When it comes to the way Vernon plays, it's very adventurous, super adventurous. I'm not, who am I to give you advice, but if I was giving you advice on how to dig into Vernon's world, it's to take chances. And the Floyd Rose obviously allows you to take some chances that other tremolos don't allow you to take. And don't be fooled, this is not like your typical 3 humbucker guitar you might be familiar with. You're into like, you know, S-style 3 single coil world-ish, because you have a 5-way selector switch also. And you get that 4th and 2nd position, which is really cool, that, you know, sort of out of phase but not out of phase sound that we know and love. And then obviously, you know, bridge, middle, and neck to fill in all the gaps there. So the guitar itself is incredibly versatile. I can't think of a style of music that you couldn't play on this guitar, whether you're a jazz player, whether you're a rock player, whether you're a pop player or a blues player. This thing can pretty much do it all, and it does it really well. Part of what makes Vernon Reid really, really cool is that he fulfills, in my mind, two different places in the guitar playing world. He is a phenomenal traditional player. And I would argue that when you get a riff like Cult of Personality or some of the studio work he's done with Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey, maybe to a lesser extent the Public Enemy stuff, you know, you've got somebody who plays guitar in a traditional way really, really well, and he can rip a solo. I cannot even come close to playing as fast as he can. He's got some serious face-melting speed when he's soloing, but like I said, he's also got this really, really great sense of timing and rhythm that he brings to the table, both in living color, on his own, and then as a guitar player on other people's projects. Now, what I've noticed, though, is that he can get really outside then. He can go kind of wild and be very adventurous and just be off into like almost noise rock land. But the thing that I always notice is he always brings it back. There's always something listenable, and there's always something melodic, and there's always something accessible that he ends up on. It's almost like a landing pad that he hits both in his solos, but then also in just in some of his music in general that he does outside of Living Color. A really good example of this is his work with the Freeform Funky Freaks. Now, this is a really interesting project where everything's improvised. You're never going to hear the same thing twice. And like I said, it is adventurous. So in the spirit of adventure, we've got 4 pedals that are going to help you get adventurous. All 4 of these Vernon has used. First up, from DigiTech, we've got the Whammy Ricochet. And this, if you happen to not have a Floyd Rose on your guitar, you could definitely do some cool things that simulate a whammy bar with the Whammy Ricochet, but you can also go way beyond that and get super inventive and kind of outside the norm with the Whammy Ricochet. Next up, we've got the DigiTech FreqOut. Now, this thing is really cool because not only can you get into that avant-garde, super creative, kind of wild noise guitar world with it, it also brings back something that's missing to a lot of our rigs and playing experiences these days, and that is natural feedback. It also allows you to get into that super creative and fun world that Vernon Reid is known for building. From Red Panda, we have 2 more pedals that are endorsed by Vernon himself. We've got the Particle granular delay and the Tensor, which is kind of like, think of it as a tape machine in a pedal, but a tape machine that you can do some really wild things with. So the way I'm going to use these is I'm going to use the Tensor as kind of the foundation for a little bit of fun I'm going to have here in the spirit of some of Vernon's more avant-garde projects. And I'm going to use that as kind of a looper. There is like about 4.8 seconds of audio that you can loop into this, not in a traditional sense. You're not going to be doing like a solo acoustic kind of looping with this, but you can get really, really outside and build a foundation with the Tensor. And then once you add in the Particle granular delay, you can kind of break apart your signal, break apart your guitar sound, and really get very interesting and creative with it. Both of these pedals, I think it's accurate that Kurt from Red Panda said it's going to change the way you play. And that is kind of what you got to do to get into that Vernon Reid territory. So both the Tensor and the Particle can actually accept an expression pedal if you want to control some of the parameters in that way. You've got momentary and latch switching. You can switch on these pedals, which is super cool. It makes for a really interesting opportunity to create a soundscape. I really, really encourage you to dig into his wide body of work, both with his side projects as well as other artists. He's a really interesting guitar player. I enjoyed so much digging into all those aspects of his career. And again, the name of the game here is be adventurous, take chances, and use gear that might change the way you approach your instrument because that will get you somewhere in the ballpark of someone who, in my opinion, you cannot emulate, and that is Vernon Reid.